Always make sure to clean the kitchen before you go to cooking and wash them dishes. Get that nasty out of there. Bite to you, Chef-O. For this here recipe, you're going to need some celery, some carrots, and a half an onion. You want to dice these up fine. You're also going to need some extra virgin olive oil, some garlic powder, onion powder, ground black pepper, some salt. You want some chicken bouillon cubes or chicken bouillon powder, some paprika. You want some heavy whipping cream, some chicken broth. Also, you're going to want some salted butter, and you want your 8 ounces of Orzo. Now heat you up some water in the saucepan. Make sure you got enough of that there. And in a skillet, you want to melt down 5 tablespoons of that salted butter with 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And you're going to get ready to saute your vegetables. And once you're ready, you want to drop down in there with them fellas. This here is referred to as mirepoix. And it's a trinity used for a lot of soups and stews. Not to be confused with the New Orleans bell pepper, celery, and onions trinity. Now, if you're not using the store-bought rotisserie chicken, season your 2 boneless chicken breasts with a teaspoon each of garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and a half a teaspoon of salt and ground black pepper. And you want to saute that for about 5 minutes and get them fellas all soft. While you're doing that, though, add 8 ounces of your Orzo to your now boiling water. Yes. Now, you see me, I'm using the store-bought chicken, so I omit the paprika and add in that rest of that seasoned mixture and go to stirring that, getting flavors all nice and melded in and incorporated as you see here. Yes. Old Chef-O mixing it all together, getting it all incorporated. And this here is the creamy chicken pot pie Orzo by Chef-O. Drop down in there with a 1/3 cup of that all-purpose flour and get to stirring and mixing for a few minutes. Only a few minutes. You're not making a roux here. It may look like it, but you ain't making a roux. After 3 minutes, you want to drop down in there with 2 cups of chicken broth for now. We'll talk about that later. Now you want to sit here, excuse old chef, or you want to wait for a light simmer to go to form in here. And once you get that light simmer, you want to drop back down in there with a half a cup of that heavy cream. Yeah, drop it down on in there. Half a cup of that heavy cream, baby. You want to go to mixing. Alright, stand over the top of this here dish. It's a lot of mixing because remember, whenever you add that flour in there, that flour is a thickening agent. So what you're doing here is you're cooking down that flour when you're keeping an eye on things so it won't be too much fine on the bottom of your pot or your skillet. That's why we're switching all your utensil out like we did right here to scrape it up. And as you can see, just like old Chef-O said, it doesn't thicken up. Now that's why I said that chicken broth comes back into play. As you can see here, I've added some more chicken broth, just a little bit. Altogether, 1.5 cups I end up adding. But this here, I just added a little bit to it. And I came across the top and dropped down with our diced up rotisserie chicken breast from the grocery store. You don't want to use dark meat for this recipe. You can, but old Chef-O didn't. Sure didn't. Yes. And you want to drop down in there with some more of that liquid. What you want to do is cook down and let the chicken merge with the flavors in the pot. And then you decide whether you're going to need some more salt. Old Chef-O decided it was all right to go ahead and drop down in there with a teaspoon of chicken bouillon. And you can use the powder, or you can do like Chef-O and use the 3.5 gram cubes, them small cubes of chicken bouillon. Yes. That's going to give you all kinds of flavor. Look at that. Look at this here. Taste it again and make sure it's all right for you. Now we about done here, so we going to introduce our 8 ounces of cooked Orzo. We usually find this in 16-ounce portions. Just use half of it. Drop down in there with it. And you do. So unless you cook yours too stiff, like old Chef-O did, not too stiff, but al dente, you can leave it on the eye for a couple minutes like I am here while I'm mixing in that Orzo. But if you happen to overcook yours, I would highly recommend removing this from the eye before you go ahead and introduce your Orzo. Move it from the eye and let the temperature come down a little bit. But anyway, you want to go to folding that in there, like old Chef-O doing. Folding that in there. And this is 8 ounces of Orzo if you want it creamy. You can add more if you like. Now check this out. Come across the top here with some of that fresh parsley. Make it gourmet. Make it look pretty, baby. Look at this here. Man, look at this here. Creamy, smooth, flavorful, and easy to make. Like, share, and subscribe. Old Chef O love y'all. Yeah, old Chef O love y'all. I'm out, baby.